So man, everything was going great. Life was good. I was married. I had a beautiful wife, and I had a 18-month-old, 19-month-old daughter. I was a student pastor at a church. My wife was actually 7 months pregnant with our second child. It was going to be a boy. And man, we're just living the life. And October 2nd, 2006, just tragedy. My wife was killed in a car accident, and my daughter Faith was in the car with her. And basically a car was coming head on, and he fell asleep at the wheel and kind of crossed over, and that's when they hit. So she didn't make it. The unborn child, my son, didn't make it either. Thankfully, Faith was, she was okay. She only had some minor abrasions and some bruising, but it changes your world, rocks your world. You know, your spouse, your best friend, you know, your wife and your son. And so now I'm a single dad, trying to do life, and trying to stay plugged in, you know, with my kids. I got students in my ministry that are looking to me and, you know, kind of trying to be there for me. And man, God just really was cool. He surrounded me with people that loved me, poured into me, were there for me and for Faith during those years. And about a year, actually it was about 2 years after the accident, I got a card in the mail from the gentleman that was in the auto accident, and he was just kind of reaching out to me and saying, "Hey man, sorry," you know. And he tried to reach out to me a few times, just some friends in the area that knew kind of both of us, some mutual friends. But our attorneys kind of said, "Hey, look, we don't need to have any conversations between the two of you." But I remember it was the day before the 2-year anniversary. I was at Publix shopping. I'd gone to get some groceries after student ministry on a Wednesday night, and I got a phone call, and I was like, "What's going on?" And one of my friends, Jeff, called, and he said, "Hey man, Matthew's outside in the parking lot. He saw you walking into Publix. Would now be a good time for you two to talk?" And so I walked out into the parking lot, and here's a guy, he's at this point 21 years old. He was a firefighter in Gwinnett. I walked up to him because I had seen his picture, you know, in the paper and things like that, and he was just bawling. And I just walked up to him, and I gave him a hug. And it's the weirdest thing. I just had a peace about the whole situation, and we just kind of embraced it and began to. I said, "Look, I know there's probably some things you want to tell me, and there's some things I want to share with you." I said, "Why don't you go first?" And he just began to you know, how sorry he was, and how, you know, all that stuff. And you know, and I said, "Listen, I want you to know that don't let this one thing define you. God's bigger than this one thing." I said, "You know, God's got a plan for you beyond this." And I said, "I forgive you." And he couldn't grasp it. He said, "How?" And I'm like, I mean, one, the Bible tells me to, but secondly, I've been forgiven, and forgiven people forgive people, and so I just felt a peace about it. I felt like it was exactly what God wanted me to do. I remember from that point on, I said, "Look, and I want to stay connected with you. I want to keep a relationship going. I just feel like I'm supposed to do that." And he said, "Man, I would love that." I was about to say the same thing, and so we started meeting, you know, every 2 to 3 weeks, once a month. We would get together, and we just began to see God do a really cool thing in our relationship, unusual, but it brought healing. It brought healing for me, and it brought healing for him. And that's what this story really is all about. It's about God being faithful. You know, even though I had lost so much, you know, and gone through really some of the hardest times I've ever been through, God taught me a lot, and he showed himself. He showed that he's faithful. He showed that he comes through in those moments when you feel like you don't have any strength. You don't know what the next step's going to look like. You don't even understand why you're in the situation to begin with. But God remains true. And the relationship with Matthew really helped heal my heart and help that healing process. And of course, he said it did a world of good for him as well. So fast forward back to Thomasville. I got married. A couple years later, we had a little girl named Mackenzie, and the due date for my son that was killed in a car accident, we actually found out when Kelly was pregnant that was the exact same due date for Mackenzie. And just another example of God reminding us that, hey, I know what you've lost, but I'm a good God, and he's faithful. And I could go on and tell you time and time again stories just like this, but one of the things that I know to be true is that God is good, and that God is real, and that he's faithful. I'm Erik Fitzgerald, and I'm steadfast in my faith.